Hey everybody, we're just going to go ahead and do a quick little tour of part of my collection room here in my basement. And we're going to, and remember, this is because you were able to get 5 comments on the last video, 5 answers to my questions. So I can't wait to show you some of my cool stuff. So let's go ahead and let's have a look. Today we're going to be having a look at our G.I. Joe shelf. Now check this out. I have it separated into different areas, and each one is a different kind of environment or a climate or something that I think G.I. Joe would be doing. If you're not real familiar with G.I. Joe, most of the time when I talk to kids, they're not really sure what it is. It's basically like a made-up version of the United States military. It's kind of like a superhero version of the military. And so I love collecting it. They're probably about like 3 3/4 inches tall, like this. So they're not like huge figures or anything, but I just really love collecting these guys. So I'll go ahead and show you a few of them. Let's start at the top up here. We can see that we have our desert area. This is an old kind of like building that I bought from one of those military sets of action figures that wasn't G.I. Joe. It actually came from Big Lots years and years ago. It was a brand called World Peacekeepers. And as you can see, it works really well with G.I. Joes. That background right there is one that came with a G.I. Joe vehicle. And you can see that I've got all of my desert camouflage guys. And I kind of separate them like that. If they're wearing desert camouflage, I put them up here in the desert area. This is Duke. He's the leader of G.I. Joe, so I have him up there with the rocket launchers. I have my flyers jumping out the windows there, hopefully not to their deaths. Hopefully they will fly. Here we have Serpentor. He's one of the villains in G.I. Joe. We have Chuckles back here. He's an infiltrator. He kind of sneaks and tries to figure out what Cobra is up to. And if you're wondering what Cobra is, that is the bad guys. Here's Cobra Commander. Chances are, if any of your parents are 80s kids, they'll know what G.I. Joe is. So hopefully they get a kick out of this too. You can see I have a little command post over there. Kind of a little hideout. And I have some sandbags over here. Okay, let's move on down to the next level. This is my jungle area. I've always loved collecting G.I. Joes that kind of go in the jungle theme. I don't know what it is. I just think it's kind of cool. I guess I like all the green camo and things like that. We'll get a little closer here and I'll show you more. This is General Hawk. He's one of the leaders of G.I. Joe. And this back here is a HISS tank. It's one of the most famous G.I. Joe vehicles. And then I also painted that back there. Do you see the little thing with like the net over it? You can see Cobra Commander is hiding out inside of it, the main bad guy. But I painted it originally, I think it was like black or something, or brown, but I wanted to add more detail, so I dry brushed some paint on there. There's Shipwrecked, the guy in the boggin back there. He's one of my absolute favorites. Let's move on down. This might be one of my favorite levels, if not my favorite level, because you have the Tomahawk helicopter. This thing is huge, and as you can see, you can fit a bunch of G.I. Joes in it. I tried to make this scene like they were escaping, like from a Cobra attack. So I have some Joes down here struggling to get away while the others are jumping on the helicopter. And you can see Duke's got his hand out like, come on, we've got to go. This is Law and Order. The guy is dressed up like the police officer. I love G.I. Joe because it kind of highlights our real heroes. So whether it's our military heroes or our police heroes, I love that G.I. Joe is always kind of making them the heroes and not necessarily superheroes or people who don't really exist. It's our army, it's our police officers, it's the people who do the real work for us every day. And you can see that I've got this little plastic G.I. Joe sign here. And what's really cool about this, let's see if it still works. Because originally, yeah, you'd press it. And it plays the G.I. Joe theme song. so that's pretty fun. That was from the 80s cartoon of G.I. Joe. So some of you parents may remember that, I hope, maybe, possibly. But yeah, I've always had a lot of fun just pressing that randomly. Up here we have Cobra Commander again. We've got Flint, who's got him in kind of a headlock. There's even a Native American member of G.I. Joe, Spirit. So I really love how representative G.I. Joe is of all people in America. Okay, moving on down, we now have our city display. This is where I put my guys who are kind of in like city or urban camo. It's kind of in their grays and their blacks, kind of the night fighters of G.I. Joe. I love putting stuff in this display. Any G.I. Joe that looks like they're kind of have a lot of technology and a lot of like high-tech equipment. This is usually where I put these guys. Let's just have a look at some of those. This guy right here with the silver head is Destro. Destro is the bad guy who is Cobra's weapons dealer. And I've always loved his design because he has a silver head. I just think it's awesome. And you even have an Asian American member of G.I. Joe, Quick Kick. Just so many cool ones. This is Snake Eyes the Ninja over here, the guy with the sword. And so there's so many cool things in G.I. Joe. You can't hardly get tired of it because there's always some sort of variety or something new. And then down here, we have what I like to refer to as my crazy shelf. This is my crazy shelf. This is all the weird stuff in G.I. Joe that's like based on a cartoon or based on something really colorful. It doesn't really go with the other shelves, so I just cram it all down here. You've got all sorts of different varieties. I'll show you a little bit. Move one of my boxes out of the way here. You can see we even have a basketball player. Can't see him too well, but he's wearing his basketball jersey. His name is Big Lob. There's even a football player. If you see the guy in the green helmet right there, he's got his football. His name's Captain Gridiron. There's robot mech suits. There's eco warriors. These are the guys in the helmets. They fight to try to clean up the environment. You have Duke, the leader of G.I. Joe, with a flag, who's yelling. He doesn't look happy. And you have another mech suit back here. All sorts of different things. Chuckles again in the Hawaiian shirt. G.I. Joe's, it's colorful, it's crazy, and it can be just about anything. So that's the reason why I collect a lot of these guys. I also have some other G.I. Joe displays, and we may end up taking a quick look at those guys on a different day, okay? So remember, guys, if you want to see another one of these videos like this tomorrow, make sure that we get at least 5 responses to my question of the day, okay? So thank you guys so much, and we'll look at a different part tomorrow if we get 5 responses. Take care. Bye.